tech support? Okay. Oh, okay. think so. So when I did the study here, Does it give me a little button to remove that name?
When the name comes up, it'll say Bailey Riker, and then it'll say remove from list.
I moved just a little bit. I'm not sure if that requires any adjustments on your part. Yeah, sorry, I moved a little closer to center stage. Yeah, that's fine. know where you're going to school yet, Trevor?
to go? All right, let's kick off the 2023 school year. For anybody who does not know, my name is Mr. Riker, and I get to be the secondary principal here at Gothenburg Schools. Of course, that means for grades 7 through 12. Our format today, I'm joined here in the back by the class of 2023, our seniors. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'm reading this statement. And then, of course, we are broadcasting out to the foundations classrooms, sending this message out to all of the other students. We welcome everybody back to school for this 2022-23 school year. So here are our objectives for the day. We're going to identify some programs, we're going to clarify some goals, and we are going to set the stage for an awesome school year. I get really excited about the time the calendar turns to August, because I start thinking about our senior class and all the things that we have to accomplish over the next few months. So we're going to set the stage for that. We're going to provide some information that will help students have the best educational experience that they possibly can. And then, of course, for this group in here, we are going to distribute some prizes today, so that'll be a lot of fun. We're also going to do a little bit of reflecting. So every year, along about the 1st of June, I reach out to your parents. I'll be honest, specifically I generally reach out to your moms because they're pretty cooperative. And I say, would you be willing to share some old school photos? I'm talking Dudley days from back in the day, because I always think it's nice on day one to do a little bit of reflecting about where we've been. So throughout our presentation today, we will do a little bit of reflecting about where we've come from, because seniors, let's be honest, this time has all gone really quickly. It was a few short months ago that we were sending the class of 2022 off into the world, and you're going to hear this a lot, but this year is going to go by quick. When you think about when those pictures were taken and how far off that seems, it's going to go by quick. Before you know it, it's going to be February, it's going to be cold out, and we're going to be marching toward that graduation stage. So I want to make sure that we reflect a little bit today and be thankful for the road we've traveled to get here. All right. Is Emily Cornwall with us? Yeah. Emily, would you come on up here and give us a back-to-school welcome?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Cornwall. And while I understand school is not everyone's favorite, you can make the most of it. If you have to be here, you might as well have a positive attitude. School is only fun if you make it fun. Be nice to others and yourselves. Work hard, make friends, and join activities. This is 4 years that can either be downright miserable or the best time of your life. Thank you.
All right, many of our activities today are brought to us by the Student Council, including those gifts that we're going to give out today, and they really help inject a lot of fun and activity into our school year. We are going to start this presentation by introducing some new staff members. These are staff members that you are going to see in your classrooms this year, and many of our students out there in Foundations classrooms have already met them because they are with them right now. We're going to start with Miss Yonda, who is our art educator. She joins us from Hastings College and is very excited to join this sweet team and lead us in the area of art education. Mr. Shane Butterfield, yet again we have found a Gothenburg Swede graduate to return to our classrooms, bringing both that tradition of the Gothenburg excellence and the excitement to the industrial technology area. Mr. Butterfield has a background in EMT, fire and rescue, and also as an electrician, he's going to be an outstanding addition to our Gothenburg Suite team. Mrs. Mary Meisner joins the math department. She comes to us from Dudley Elementary. She is very excited to join us up here in the secondary building and will be an excellent addition to that math team. Ms. Allnut is a science educator. She's going to teach us some chemistry and some physical science, I believe, second semester. A little bit of college biology. Up there on the second floor, she joins that outstanding team of science educators. And Mrs. Rebecca Stewart joins us as the counselor's assistant to Mr. Jerry Wiggins. She's going to help us align some of our strategic goals related to expanding opportunities for our students here at Gothenburg Schools. She's also going to help lead some Spanish classes, periods 1 and 2, early in the morning, those high-level Spanish classes. So welcome to Mrs. Rebecca Stewart. Also a Gothenburg Suites graduate. All right, so here's a big part of what we are going to set the stage for today. Seniors, it is your time to lead. This is your year. And as you know, because you've heard me express this to our classes throughout the years, our source of leadership comes from the hallways. Our source of leadership comes from our student body. And what that means for you, class of 2023, is it is your time to lead this school. Think about that responsibility and think about what it means. Think about what that means in the hallways, in the classrooms. Think about what it means in the locker rooms, on the athletic fields, up here on the stage, through both fine arts and athletic programs. It is your time to lead those programs. And I am excited about what you bring to the table this year. I'm excited to work with you on that. Now, if I'm going to share old elementary era photos of you, I have to be willing to play along just a little bit. This was probably about 1983 in the community of Chadron. I was out on the playground pretending to be John Elway, maybe Turner Gill, two names probably mean very little to you, but some of our teachers might remember those days. Here's my philosophy. I love this community and I love this school. I love my job because it gives me the opportunity to work with you on a daily basis during a time that I think is absolutely exciting and critical. I enjoy every part about the process. I enjoy getting to celebrate your successes with you. I enjoy being there during those times when we fail because that is part of life. It's part of what happens. It happens to all of us at some stage in the game. And I enjoy helping to dial in those lessons when they do occur. I very much maintain a growth mindset as it relates to that process. In terms of, it's not about where we are at today, it's about where we're going. So whether I'm talking to the class of 2023 or those students who are out in the foundations classrooms, please understand, I love this job on a daily basis because I get to be a part of that process. One of the biggest reasons that I love the job is because I loved the process when I was your age. I enjoyed school. I enjoyed everything about it. I enjoyed my friends who I'm still very, very close with. We have a group text chat that goes back and forth daily. I enjoyed competing in any element that I could. I enjoyed the classes. I enjoyed the process of learning, both in middle school and high school and on into college. It's always been a process that I've embraced. So for me to choose a career, once it landed in front of me, it was quite easy. This is where I belong. That's why I love this job. Your teachers, your coaches, your administrators are here to help you in any way that they can. And so that's one of the things that gets me very excited when I start talking about August and transition back to school. I look forward to working more closely with you as you begin to dial in your own hopes and dreams and goals and ambitions. And I look forward to working with you and being part of that process. All right. With that, it is time for our first giveaway. Again, this is brought to you by the Student Council. Our student council leaders are Mrs. Long and Mrs. Meisinger. And our first giveaway is a JBL Bluetooth speaker. And just so that we know that this is a random all-access giveaway, here we go. Miss Sydney Houchin is the winner of that Bluetooth speaker. Sydney, if you want to stop into the office at the end of the day, that's where that is located. Either Jenny or Mr. Mrachek or I will be there to give you that gift. Congratulations. All right, let's start with some of our support programs and maybe just a few changes that will occur this school year to help ensure an opportunity of success for everybody. The regular school day is going to start at 8:10, I believe, on our normal schedule. Is that right, Mr. Mrachek? All right, I have 8:05 printed there. I believe it's 8:10. We'll pull that up and look at it and confirm it later. But access runs from 7:45 until 8:05. Access is your opportunity to get additional help from teachers. Access is a voluntary program if you choose to come and get extra help from teachers. If you are missing assignments, access is not voluntary. If you are missing assignments, that means a teacher has assigned you access and you need to come the next day to that classroom and work on that assignment under the guidance of that teacher. One thing that we're going to bring back this year are the parent notifications. If you do have access, parent phone call, if you've been assigned access. Parent phone call will go out so that your parents are aware. Stress to your parents that this isn't a punishment, I'm not in trouble. I've just been prompted to improve a grade in the grade book. This is an opportunity and a teacher reaching out to me for that. Okay? Now, as we look at access in the morning routine, here's how we are going to start the school year for 2022. Our main doors to the high school will be open every day at 7:45. If you need to come in and get some additional assistance in calculus or chemistry or biology or any of your classes, come on in. Go see that teacher and get that additional help. If you've been assigned access, by all means, come on in, go report to that classroom and get that situation taken care of. If neither of those situations apply to you, then wait until 8 o'clock, come in at 8 o'clock and join us at that point. That's how our morning routine is going to look. The doors will be open at 7:45, but what I'm saying is we don't want our entire student body in the hallways with no particular place to go. If that's the situation, as long as the weather is nice, we're going to ask that you hang out outside in front of the school. We can mill around out there until 8:08 and then come on in. But as long as the weather is nice, if you are in the building before 8 o'clock, it would be the expectation that you be with a teacher for access. Again, voluntarily or assigned. Okay? Sweet Foundations returns for the school year 22-23. This is your academic team. It is your Swede school family. Most of you in this room are familiar with this process. Some of our other students might not be. Sweet Foundations is your Sweet Foundations teacher is your academic advisor. They're the ones that help you set and accomplish your goals. All students in all Sweet Foundations classrooms will be setting goals, both a combination of team goals for the entire group and individual goals for things that you want to accomplish. So start giving some thought to what you want to accomplish this year. Those goals can be academic. They can be social, they can be growth-oriented, they can be related to what you want to accomplish through your activities participation. But give some thought to what you want those goals to look like, because every student in Gothenburg schools will be setting those goals. I believe it is critical to the growth mindset. Mr. Wiggins has goals for this year. Mr. Mrachek has goals for this year. I have goals for this year. I just got done sharing them with our entire staff. All of us set goals so that we can make this the best experience possible and so that we can grow and improve. Graduation requirements. Who would have guessed when you were standing in that Dudley hallway that we would be getting ready for graduation? This, of course, pertains to our seniors, but it pertains to all of our students. Just some quick descriptors here. Students who graduate from Gothenburg Public Schools are required to pass 240 credit hours. A class that you take for a semester is 5 hours. So an entire school year would be 10 credits. So as you look down through this list, that means that we require 4 years of English, 3 years of social science, 3 of math, 3 of science, a year of PE, semester of both speech and finance, and then 100 hours of electives. So when you meet with Mr. Wiggins to go through this final stage toward graduation, those are the targets. For other grade levels, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, I put this on here because that is critically important. For you freshmen out there in your sweet foundational classrooms, it is essential that we begin this process on the right foot. We don't want you to get behind this first semester. So freshmen, if you start to struggle this first semester, you should reach out to your classroom teachers and your sweet foundations teacher and get some assistance. That is what we are here for. Reach out to your counselor, Mr. Wiggins, reach out to myself. We are all here to help you and make sure that you get off to a great start, and we believe that you will. Academic integrity. On page 13 of your handbook, it talks a little bit about academic integrity. When I look at these fine gentlemen up here on the screen, I know that it would not be an issue for them. Make sure that you're doing your own work. In life, you are always going to have tasks and responsibilities that you don't initially embrace. And as you know, there will always be an easy way out. Eventually, that easy way out catches up with you. So challenge yourself to exhibit integrity, challenge yourself to lead, and hold others accountable. That's going to be a theme that you're going to hear a lot today, to hold those around you accountable to that same standard. Student absences, this one is critically important. In my experience, when we have students who begin to struggle academically, we can generally trace that back to one key component. Are they with us on a regular basis? Our board-adopted policy requires that if you exceed 9 absences from a semester class, you forfeit credit for that class. And I would love to stand up here and tell you that that never happens. It does. It happened last year, it happened the year before. Students who, on paper, had passing grades in a class, but had missed that class in excess of 9 times, who did not receive credit for that class. So students in the foundations classrooms and here in the PAC, I cannot hammer home this point emphatically enough. You have to be here in school. You cannot exceed 9 absences for the semester. So let's talk just briefly about how we arrive at that number. Are there exceptions? Yes, there are. Let's say that you have regular orthodontist appointments that pull you from that same class. Every time you check out from the dentist, they offer you a note when you go back to school. Take that note and hand it to Jenny in the office because we drop that into a file. That does not count against those 9 absences. If you have a doctor's appointment, if you have a serious injury, all you have to do is bring that documentation back to the school and we don't count those absences. The best way for me to describe these 9 absences, they are considered discretionary absences. If you're homesick and your mom calls you in and says, little Joey was homesick today, that is a discretionary absence. If you go to the doctor, you get checked out, you get a note, you bring it back, that is not a discretionary absence. Key difference, doctor, parent. You bring us a doctor's note, we don't count it. parent calls you in, we do, at least until we get a doctor's note. You may be homesick for 5 days. You may have a serious illness that requires you to stay home, and we get that. But if you're home for 5 days, we sincerely hope that you will go see the doctor so that you can get better and you can come back and join us again. When you do go see that doctor, have them sign off all 5 of those days. They will. It's not just the day that you go to the appointment at the clinic. The doctor will say, no, this is legitimate. Little Joey should be home for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. So we'll drop that in the file, we won't count those. Have I effectively articulated how we arrive at that number? Okay. Very, very important, very, very critical. Okay? If you need to be gone in this day and age of pandemics and illness, we get it. We do need a parent phone call. If the parent doesn't call, Jenny will be calling them to ask so that we are all on the same page, just to confirm that parents are aware that you are home. So please stress this to your parents. If you have to stay home sick, we need a phone call. When you return, this policy has not changed. You need to bring a note from home, signed, dated, that indicates Mark was home sick today. We were aware. That note goes to Jenny in the office and she will write out an admit slip. The admit slip will be required for you to go to class. That has been a focal point with our teaching staff. Teachers will be asking to see your admit slip. So make sure that you stop at the window at the beginning of the day. Get here. That's a good reason to come in at 7:45. Come in at 7:45, go to the window, get the admit slip, and then you are on about your day. Go see your teachers and access, find out what you missed the previous day when you were home ill. This is for those discretionary absences. This is not required when you are gone for an activity. When you are gone for an activity, your activity sponsor emails the staff and lets everybody know that you will be gone and the reason you'll be gone and when you'll be back. This is for those discretionary absences. Tardies and detentions. Here, we do have a couple of changes here, so this is pretty important. First of all, tardies, we're going to take the same approach for periods 1 through 8. If you are late to a class, your teacher will send you to the window to get a tardy slip. You will automatically be added to the detention list. In the past, the teacher might have said, come in, see me after school for 10 minutes. Good enough, we'll take care of it. That will no longer be the case. If the teacher determines that you are tardy to your 3rd period class, they send you to the office, you get the slip, you're automatically dropped onto that detention list. If you are let out late from a class because you're cleaning the shop, or because Mr. Hakey was playing kickball and didn't realize it until about 5 minutes after the bell, of course we're going to excuse those. We'll communicate those to the staff. Mr. Hakey will send out an email apologizing for keeping you too long. I'm not discussing those situations. I'm talking about when you went to the bathroom before you checked in with your teacher, or you were out in the hallway talking to your buddies and this got a little bit too long and then you went to class. Those are the situations which will result in that detention. Detentions, this is also a change. Detentions must now be served within 24 hours. So I do my best to be flexible. You can serve it after school, you can serve it before school. You have those 2 choices. The day that it's assigned, you can serve it after school in Mrs. Shear's room, or you can serve it the following morning at 7 a.m. in my office. That's the time I get here. Come on in. We'll get you marked off and we're good to go. If you have not gotten that taken care of, this is a key change. There will be no practice and no activities. Anyone who has a late detention that has not been served will not be able to participate in practice or activities. Coaches are aware of that. They support it 100%. Gone are the days where we're going to drag those out very long. Now, I don't anticipate this being much of an issue because I don't anticipate we're going to have many detentions, but they do inevitably happen. Hey, they inevitably happen to me. I owned it. I served them. Chromebook usage, I always have to remind students about this, and here's why. I don't enjoy those embarrassing conversations. So, class of 2023, you get it. You've been going to school here for a number of years, and you know what this means. 7th graders, 8th graders out there in sweet foundation land, here's the message. That Chromebook has filtration software that runs through our system no matter where you are. If you are here in the building, it runs through our system. If you are at grandma's house, it runs through our system. If you are at McDonald's, it runs through our system. And if you venture to a part of the internet that is not appropriate, it sends me an email. I don't have to go looking for it, and I won't go looking for it, I promise you, but it sends me an email, and it forces us to sit down and have one of those uncomfortable conversations, where I turn my computer screen and I say, what were you doing here? We can't do this. We can't do this on the school device. And you can see how this is awkward for all parties involved. So that's why I do this every year. I want to avoid those conversations. That's my goal. My goal is to not have that happen. So, message to everybody, Chromebook is for educational purposes only. If you are working on an assignment, perfect. And you may be working on a legitimate assignment that occasionally runs into a blocked part of the internet. It's not at all uncommon for me to get an email from a student that says, hey, I was working on a report for chemistry, and I tried to access this website, and it blocked me, and I just want you to know that I'm not a creep. It was for a class. So here's what it was. And those are legitimate. If that happens and you run into something that you can't access, that you need to for legitimate purposes, visit with Mrs. Eggleston or Mrs. Long in the Media Center, and they can assist you with that. Bullying and harassment policy. First thing we must do in this process is define bullying. So class of 2023, I know that you are going to provide leadership in the hallways, and I think that that's the most important part of this, holding others accountable, the bottom note here on this slide. Sometimes in the junior high, if you think back to those days, friendships were fleeting. Like, we might be friends first period, we might not like each other third period, and we might be friends again by seventh period. That oftentimes falls under that first category of not nice. Somebody who's my friend half the time and not the rest of the time called me a name, and it was not a name that I appreciate, but by tomorrow morning we'll probably be friends again. That's not nice. It's not bullying. It's not harassment. Second category is somebody who's mean. That gets a little bit closer to our bullying. But when someone says or does something intentionally hurtful, and they keep doing it over a period of time, even when you tell them to stop or show them that you are upset, that is bullying. So what does that mean? That means that we have to document it. It means that it becomes part of your student record. So 7th and 8th graders out there, it means that we have a cumulative process. It means that the first time it happens, here's the consequence. The second time it happens, that consequence escalates. And the third time it would escalate, and at some point we're probably showing you the door, having a conversation with parents, and identifying the circumstances under which you can return to government schools. When you start the 9th grade, that slate is clean, and we start over. But all instances of bullying from the 9th grade into the 10th grade, 11th, and 12th are again cumulative. So those consequences escalate each time. Very important for us to recognize that. In my experience, as we get to this stage and we're seniors, we've addressed this, we've dealt with it, and it's not an issue anymore. But in my experience, it takes a little while for our junior high grades to figure that out. So it's very important for me to identify what that process looks like. All right, cell phones. We've had a lot of conversations with other area school districts over the summer to see how different schools are handling cell phones. I've seen it on the 6 o'clock news several times over the past couple of weeks. Most schools are moving away from the, how can I term it, blanket, most flexible cell phone policy that we have embraced for the past 5 years. A little history lesson, this is my 6th year as principal. My first year, I eliminated all cell phone restrictions. I said, you guys can have them, you're adults, just be responsible with them. And for 5 years we did that. It was basically your teacher's discretion in the classroom, what that looked like. It became apparent numerous times last year that we had to look at something a little bit different. And so, in actuality, this is going to be a fairly small difference, but it is going to be a difference. You can have your cell phone in the hallways. You You have your cell phone in the cafeteria. Once you enter the classroom, you are in calculus class. There will be a caddy that you place your cell phone in, and when the class is over, you can retrieve it. Cell phones have never been permitted in restrooms. We're going to dial that in just a little bit because cell phones will not be able to go with you to the restroom. You leave the classroom, the cell phone stays in the caddy. Does not go to the restroom with you. Cell phones in locker rooms are locked in lockers. So for PE, this is going to look just a little bit different. You change clothes to go to PE class, you lock your cell phone in your locker, you go to PE class, you come back, you use it, but do not have it out in the locker room for some very obvious reasons. PE teachers see a cell phone out in the locker room, they take it. So, I don't like to talk consequences, but because this is a substantial change, I think that it's necessary in this case. Any violation of this policy is an automatic office referral. What happens when you come to the office? I'm going to ask for your cell phone. I'm going to have it for the rest of the day. You get back at the end of the day, but you'll have that detention that you have 24 hours to serve after school or before school. If you don't comply with that, unfortunately, we're going home. This policy will be adhered to. I would compare it a little bit to when we were in that first year of the pandemic and we all universally had to wear masks. That was stipulated. And so it was a policy that was clearly defined. We had to adhere to it. If we didn't adhere to it, we had to call parents. We had to go. That's basically the same approach that we're going to take here. When you look at what it looks like throughout your school day, it doesn't look much different. Because when you were in calculus class, the expectation was that your phone was away and you were working on calculus. The difference is that phone is not in your pocket, it's in the caddy. Because we had a substantial portion of our students who really struggled with that. And we have to help them. It's one of those situations where we as school leaders have to help provide the best environment we can to accomplish those goals. Okay, every year I have to notify our student body that at any given point in the day, they are being recorded. It's kind of freaky when you think about it, but hey, right now, we're all being recorded. There's a camera right back there under the projector that records the packet. And it runs all day long. It activates anytime there is motion in here. So when we're done, I can go back to my office, I can pull that up, and I can watch that I just wait myself at 8:50 in the morning. There are cameras throughout the school, in the hallways. There are cameras that show us the parking lots, the football field, practice fields, all of the entrances to the school, and I just have to provide you with notice that those cameras are there. Again, they record when there is motion, and the only time that we go and get on them is when we have a situation that requires us to go back and look at those. I don't know if I need to elaborate on that anymore. That's nothing new, but something that I have to make you aware of every school year. Dress code, always a popular topic. Here are the most common dress code situations that we have to address. Crop top shirts, short shorts, hats, hoods, alcohol, and tobacco. No further explanation necessary. If you want to read all about it, it's on page 25 of your brand new student handbook. All right, and with that, it is time for a giveaway. A Toshiba 32-inch flat screen TV. Here we go. Holden with the 32-inch Toshiba flat screen TV. It's your lucky day. All right. With this beautiful picture, I'm going to introduce Mr. Mark Marajek, our Activities Director and Assistant Principal. Mr. Angry.
Anytime I can rub some things in, Mr. Director. Okay, I know I can't see you in SLEEP Foundation classes, but just a raise of a hand, those of you that are involved in extracurricular activities, at least one. Let's see you seniors. Awesome. As you can look around the classroom, if you're in Sweet Foundations, we're in here, we have a number of students that are involved in activities, not just sports, fine arts, band, choir, but many different activities. So we have a very high participation rate, and that continues here at Gothenburg Public Schools. So as you can see on the second bullet here, that is an NSA slogan. Activities are the other half of education. But remember, your academics come first, and then your activities. 12 life skills that I want to share with you again, and a lot of you have witnessed these firsthand. Number one here is accountability for one's actions. The value of working hard, sometimes it's harder some days than others. Commitment to a shared goal. Helping others succeed. A lot of you are team players. When you're part of the team, you have that one part of being a team player, and that's being a leader as well. You're coachable. Dealing with loss because you're not going to win every game. Handling praise, handling adversity, being disciplined, sometimes that's hard. Competing fearlessly, we saw a lot of that last year as well, and that's going to continue this year. Respecting leadership, we have excellent coaches and sponsors here. And most of all, making lifelong friends. As you know, being involved in extracurricular activity, you spend countless hours, whether it's practice on the stage, on the field, on the court, the long bus trips, many different hours that you spend with your other friends. There's many hours involved with that. So activities, as you can see here on the screen, we do offer a lot of activities for you to get involved in. Junior high students, you can take a look here at what you can get involved with, especially here in the fall. And then to the winter, and then to the spring, and then you look at the list of the year-long activities. We offer a number of those. We want you to get involved. We want you to find things that you want to find that little niche that you can get involved with. A lot of times you're not sure if you're good at it. I was in band, I was in choir. Was I good at it? I didn't think so. My sponsor was. I was also involved in all the sports too. So get involved, stay involved. And as I look around here to the seniors, we do have a number of seniors that are in the running for the 12th Sport Athlete Award. They're also involved in the fine arts. So keep up the good work. Just a reminder, the requirements for participation in activities, you know, the pink slip, the yellow slip, the green slip, right here that I have here, that is a requirement in order to participate. Why do we do that? That way we are covered and we know that you have everything turned in for your activity. If you don't receive a pink slip, especially here in the fall, or for those year-long activities, then you can't participate. Okay? You will take this pink slip or the yellow slip when it becomes the winter, or the spring, excuse me, and the green for the winter, and give that to your coach or sponsor. That tells that coach or sponsor that you have everything turned in. It's a little communication piece. We have done that the past few years, and it's worked out very well. So my challenge to you, I know seniors, you are involved in many different activities. For those of you in the Sweet Foundations classes, to get involved and stay involved. We do have a number of coaches and sponsors here that have been here a long time. The reason that is because they're very good and they enjoy what they do, and they put you in situations to be successful. So I look forward to a great 2022-23 school year, and a lot of you kick off the season tomorrow already. So we wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to supporting you all year long.
Thank you.
All right, a couple of reminders related to that. Of course, students must be in attendance 4 periods on days or activities. That includes practice and participation. So you have to be in school at least those 4 periods of the day to participate in practice or competitive activities. Okay, safe schools drug and alcohol policy. I don't believe that anything here has changed. This remains the same. if we do find ourselves in a situation where something has to be shared with a coach or a sponsor or an administrator, that self-reporting piece is pretty important, it's critical. We believe strongly that mistakes are made, but we also believe in owning those mistakes, learning from them, and moving along. And again, we believe in holding others accountable. This one represents a change in technology. So every restroom and locker room over the summer was equipped with a vape detecting device. So I've got a couple of things to note on this. Those vape detecting devices provide us with an alert anytime somebody is using a vaping device in those spaces. They also provide us with an alert if they are tampered with or vandalized. And they were quite expensive. So I'm going to really stress to you the importance of leaving those devices alone. That would not be a bill that you would want to have to foot. It would be substantial. The other thing I'm going to share with you, and this is just me being honest, I'll be perfectly upfront. We do not have the software downloaded just yet. But in the next 48 hours, we will. So, just letting you know, they are in place. Sometime in the next 48 hours, that software is going to be downloaded. Here's how I would handle that, Swedes. As I walk into the restroom, if I observe that that's going on, I'm getting out of there. Because you know that if you observe that going on, Mr. Moracek, myself, Mr. Wiggins, somebody's coming here pretty quick. And we're going to have to visit with everybody in that restroom. So if I don't want any part of that, I'm going to go find a different restroom at that very moment. That process will take just a little bit, and we will have to ultimately contact the parents of everybody who was in there. Now, the first time, that's probably not that big of a deal for that parent if they believe, hey, you were just in there, you weren't involved. But the second or the third or the fourth time, that would be a big deal. And of course, anything that is determined through that investigation would fall back into the school policy. Okay, so usage of a vaping device on school grounds is unfortunately a 3-day out of school suspension. It carries all of those activity suspensions as well. So it would result in a fairly long break from any competitive activity, a substantial break from school. Again, I think it's important we hold others accountable, and I think that this is something that probably legitimately impacts a fairly small percentage of our student population, but something that you should very much be aware of. Safe Schools backpack policy. Backpacks are not permitted in the cafeteria. Your choice whether you choose to use your locker over here in the academic wing. Many of our students over the past few years have decided not to. They use their backpack exclusively. That's fine. But when we head down to the lunchroom, that backpack has to be stored along the edge of the hallway, not blocking an exit. So as you head to the lunchroom, you can leave it on the bench, you can leave it in the serpentine hallway, not blocking an exit, and you cannot take it into the cafeteria. Facility access for students and parents. The east or the main doors to the high school are the access point. It's very important that all students use these doors when we are arriving at school to start the day. Those doors will be open every day until that first bell. Once the first bell rings, those doors are locked. When the first bell rings, we lock the doors, we do the pledge, and of course you are tardy if you have to be buzzed in at that point. Academic gates are pulled at 4 o'clock, so make sure that you have all of your things that you need before you head off to practice for your activity. And all of that activity paperwork remains out in the hallway if you still do need to get that taken care of. Student handbooks. Students in Sweet Foundations will get their handbook today. Seniors, when we are done in here, we'll have a brief meeting, and then you will travel to your Foundations classroom where you will get all kinds of paperwork to take home to your parents. A quick note on that, we will, as we always do, provide an incentive to the first 4 Foundations teams to return all of that paperwork completed. It all has to be completed, signed by parents. Once that is done, we will provide donuts to the first 4 Foundations teams that are able to complete that task. It's like your first team challenge for the 22-23 school year. School lunch policy. Junior high and high school students have a closed campus for lunch. Here's what that looks like. If you are a student who regularly goes out to eat with your parent, we have paperwork in the office, and you can do that. Your parent pulls up to the curb out there, you get in with them. I would never want to deter you from having that experience with mom and dad on a daily basis. For all other students, it is a closed campus. We are no longer permitting students to walk off campus because we have too many who were having lunch in vehicles, too many who were getting into vehicles and leaving. And so there are two groups of students that can leave for lunch. Those who have the paperwork filled out and are getting in a vehicle at the curb with mom or dad, and those students who are DO students, their school day is done and they are heading off to the workforce. Everybody else will eat in the cafeteria. You don't have to eat cafeteria food if you don't want to, though it is quite good, and we have many options these days. I eat it every day. Mr. Marachik eats it every day. Mr. Wiggins eats it every day. You can also pack your lunch and bring it here to the school, but we will all eat down in that cafeteria. We will not eat in the serpentine hallway. We have carpet in that hallway these days. You're welcome to spend your lunch hour there, but not eating. If you're eating, you have to go to the cafeteria to do that first. Then you can come down to the serpentine hallway. Food and drink policy in the school. You are welcome to have a water bottle. We encourage all of our students to stay well hydrated, especially in these very, very hot days of summer. Energy drinks, soda, coffee, all other drinks need to be stored in your vehicle before you come into the school. You can enjoy those right at 8:05, then leave it in your vehicle and come into the school. Again, we have put a lot of money into making sure that this facility looks awesome. We've carpeted areas that never had carpet. Our custodial staff has spent a lot of time making sure that this building looks great over the summer, and this is a nod to them. We will not create situations unnecessarily for them. Giveaway time, an RCA 3.2 cubic foot stainless steel fridge. Again, this can be picked up in the office at the end of the day. Let's find out who our lucky winner is. Maria is our winner. You won a fridge to take home at the end of the day. Isn't that awesome? Come and see us after school and we'll help you load that into your vehicle. That is awesome, a brand new fridge. All right, we are in the business of growing leaders. We've talked about that a lot today. I'm relying on this senior class to help provide that leadership. I know that you can and will do that, and I know that we will see members of our senior class involved in the Sweets Lead program. All students, grades 7 through 12, are eligible for this honor. We put up your banner permanently out here on Main Street. You get a Sweets Lead t-shirt. We are in the business of providing and growing leadership. We want to embrace a culture of excellence, and along with that goes the goal setting that we talked about earlier. It's a key part of the process. Again, I know that the leadership in this room will help us create and maintain that culture. Set goals for yourself. Let your teachers know what those goals are. Stop in and let me know what your goals are. I would be curious to know. Again, I talked about this at the outset, but one of my favorite parts of this job is watching you determine what your next path will be. And a big part of that relies on goal setting, establishing goals and working hard to accomplish those goals. Today's schedule, we will start the first period at 9:40. We will have brunch today. I will get on the intercom and I will dismiss from the Foundations classroom. At 9:35, we'll have announcements, and then we'll dismiss for brunch, and we will give you a few extra minutes to navigate the hallways and find your way to your first period class. You will see all of your teachers today. The class periods are, of course, shortened, but you'll see all of your teachers. A quick note for junior high students. Fifth period, all junior high students will need to report to the PAC. so that we can go through the choir, band, and study skills rotation. So all junior high students will report to the PAC for 5th period. There's a look at what your schedule looks like for the day. And again, students dismissed at 2:30. Oh, it is posted in the hallway. If you need a picture of it, you know where our schedule is posted every day. Because, hey, we do have a lot of different schedules here. We have regular, we have Wednesday, we have first day, we have 10 o'clock late start, very late. So the schedule is posted in the hallway. Lunch block. Sweet Foundations teachers, please remember to give this a little bit of extra attention when we are done with the assembly so that all students know when they eat lunch. Our 6th period is a divided lunch. So students who have teachers in the first column, you will eat lunch at 12:33. Or in the first lunch block. I'm not actually sure, it's actually 12:25 on today's schedule. Teachers in the second column, those students, so if you have PE and conditioning with Mr. Hakey, 6th period, you will eat in the second lunch block. If you have Mrs. Shear for calculus, you will eat in the second lunch block. This schedule is also posted on Main Street, right next to our daily bell schedule. So if you want to snap pictures of both of those, feel free and you'll know exactly what your day looks like. Today is going to be, or this year is going to be a great school year. I look forward to working with this group of leaders in the room, and I look forward to helping identify those emerging leaders out there in the Foundations classrooms. Foundations teachers, once we sign off here, you can begin that paperwork process and identifying what your Foundations team will look like throughout this school year, what that organizational process will look like. We have about 25 minutes for that process. It's a great day to be a Swede. Here we go, class of 2020.